I grew up in the shadow of a man who called himself bright, a preacher whose light was so intense it felt like it was compensating for a deep, ancient dark. He didn't tell me his story all at once. I gathered it in fragments. From the way he'd weep at Grandma Peace's house on Saturdays, and from the sermons where he'd describe an architect named Norm. Norm was a lighthearted optimist who thought love was just synergy, until his wife Vale proved to be the better architect. My father described Norm's jealousy as a disfigurement. He told the congregation how Norm treated her poorly, belittling her until he was unrecognizably disfigured in soul. But when she warned him that his pride would kill him, he'd bark back, "It won't kill me." The incident was the ghost in our hallway. He'd recount the day he walked toward the unsecured area of the site. Vale warned him he would die if he came further. He screamed that he hated her. "I will not die," he yelled. But before he could step into the collapse, she stepped in first. She looked at him and meekly said, "You're right." The earth took her. Norm died that day, and Bright was born. Then came Fount. She was a stranger with a face scarred beyond recognition. I used to think it was ugly. She made herself talkative, against her nature, forcing an openness. My father fell for her instantly, never seeing the woman he'd buried beneath the rubble. I was straight then. I lived by the ruler. I was the top of my class. My room was a sanctuary of right angles, and I hated Fount with a holy fire. To me, she was a foreigner, stealing a dead woman's throne. The entire small town seemed to agree with me about her, although she seemed to know her way around better than most. I spent my Saturdays at Grandma Peace's, venting my zealous rebellion. Grandma was a vacuum of judgment. She sat there, grounded and silent, letting my anger dissipate into her floorboards. I tried to be a good daughter, forcing myself to obey Fount, but when she got sick, a dark part of me cheered. I wish this illness would just get done with her, I told Grandma. I started digging into Fount's past, looking for the dirt on her. But as I researched, the blueprints shifted. I realized the dirt I was finding was the very rubble my father had described. Fount wasn't a stranger. She was Vale. She had crawled out of the earth, changed her name, and lived a life that felt unnatural, which may be why my dad, too, seems unnatural in his work. Nevertheless, I saw myself then, a natural Pharisee. I had been murdering my mother's identity in the name of honoring her memory. The difference between the two women was a wall I had built myself. The moment I let go, the friction stopped. I wasn't straight anymore. I became Myrrh. My unrest was trashed, channeled, absorbed by my mother. My thinking became much more orderly after this point. My zeal ripened into altruism. My unattachment for higher purposes became provokingly brilliant to several hard hearts in the community, and my mother recovered.